Hi everyone and welcome back to Level of Detail, brought to you by Stafford University Games Institute. I'm Jamie Nicholas and today we're celebrating Pride Month. I'm joined by concept artist lecturer Curstaidh and games art student Billy Gray as we play through one of the most notable queer games of the century that's just started, Baldur's Gate 3. And don't forget, if you want to share your thoughts on the game and get involved with the discussion, then drop us a message in the comments. Hello you two, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Curstaidh. I'm a concept art lecturer here at Stafford University.
Amazing.
I'm Billy. I'm a technical artist. I went to the games art course last year, third year. Woo.
Awesome.
Go Staffs.
You're currently working on the one-up scheme.
Yes, for you.
For me.
Yeah.
There we go. Shameless plug. Let's open up the laptop of Doom and start playing a bit of Baldur's Gate in the background, shall we?
Okay.
While we do, we've opened up on a shot of Astarion. What a wonderful way to begin. So this is Baldur's Gate 3. Curstaidh, you've played Baldur's Gate 3 quite a lot, haven't you?
I have, and I will clarify, with with controller, not mouse and keyboard. So this is new frontier for me.
And Billy, you haven't played Baldur's Gate, have you?
I haven't touched it. The last role-playing game I played, I think, was Mass Effect.
Oh, well, that's fine, because we can talk about Mass Effect. Especially in this context, we can talk about Mass Effect. Did you play through the whole trilogy?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
I like that it's still a trilogy.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Andromeda. Sorry. I did enjoy Andromeda for a while. We're playing Baldur's Gate. Have you seen anything to do with Baldur's Gate?
I've seen some of the cutscenes and some of the vague information in the news.
Yes.
That's about it.
I played it through for 2 weeks on launch. I played the game straight for 2 weeks, and I loved it. We're currently playing as my original character, who in my mind looks like me, but in reality looks nothing like me. I actually had far shorter hair when I started the playthrough, and then I made my character with the long hair and the braids going down one side, and I am now growing my hair out to look like that. We're currently talking to Halson. Now, romance is a big thing in Baldur's Gate 3. Romance is one of the things the game was sold on, and it's been part of the major conversation around the game online, and I think is a big part of why the game itself is so popular. Curstaidh, do you have any thoughts around that as someone who's played the game?
I would say that romance is a huge part of the game, and also the different types of romances.
Yes.
There's lots of variety there. It's probably what drew me to the game. So I'm a big fan of the Dragon Age games, and I didn't know much about Baldur's Gate at all. Played Dungeons and Dragons, but didn't know anything about it. And then people started talking about Astarion, and I saw all of that.
Oh.
And I was like, Astarion, who's this? And I saw one clip, and I was like, I'm going to buy Baldur's Gate, please. Just
based on Astarion.
It was a clip near the start of the game where you meet the Gandriel, I think it is, the Gur, and he...
Oh yes, the vampire hunters.
Yeah.
Monster hunters.
Yeah, the
yes.
monster hunters. And he says that he wants to take Astarion, and Astarion's with you, and he's like, And I saw that, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I want this.
Role-playing games is why I got into games development. The original Fallout New Vegas, I watched a playthrough of that on YouTube that was by the Yogscast. And from that, I got really into game. And also, it became my research subject area as well. So Fallout New Vegas did a really interesting thing where they included sexuality as part of the gameplay of the game. They included it as what we refer to as a ludological element. One of the perks you can pick, or two of the perks you can pick actually, are Confirmed Bachelor, which is a perk that gives you plus 10% damage towards other male characters because you have to be a male character to take it. And it also allows you to make sort of flirtatious comments towards other male characters. Essentially, taking that perk at level 2 makes you gay. And there's the opposite version of that for female characters, which is Cheslefem, I think. And they're all based on old-timey slang and that kind of thing. And that kind of mix of sexuality and ludology, so actual gameplay elements is what got me really interested in doing games research. And that's how I ended up here talking about it on the world's brightest podcast.
Vlogcast.
Vodcast, yes. Sorry, there is video.
That makes sense why your paper was on the people that you dated in video games.
Yeah, the Christmas lecture I wrote on all the men I've dated on video games, which can be found on the Staffs Indie Games YouTube channel. Feel free to go give it a watch, because it's got the second highest views, and I'd love to get it to the first highest views. It's a shameless plug on my part.
No, this will be the first highest views.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
100,000k. 100,000k? That's too many. Billy, how did you get into games development?
Through magical chance. So
I'm intrigued.
So that's secondary school. They happened to have Unity on their computers. And during computer science, I was tinkering around with it. And somehow it never connected in my mind that would be something that I wanted to do for like a career or anything like that. So I went to try and do graphic design at college, and they wouldn't let me. So I went on a games course, and then ended up here, or through another university, and then to here.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So where are we in Baldur's Gate currently, Kirsty? Because we're currently talking to, who is this?
This is Dame Aelin. So Aelin is an Asimir that we meet in Act 2. So she's basically like an angel. And are we allowed to discuss spoilers?
Oh yeah, we're in Act 3. There will be spoilers for Baldur's Gate 3. If you haven't played it, it came out a year ago, so get on the bandwagon. It's already left.
Oh yeah.
Go on.
The bandwagon is still going.
It is. There's still updates coming out for this game as well, so they're still doing like UI tweaks. It's really cool.
Yeah, we're with Dame Aelin now. She is an angel and a lesbian, which is wonderful. And she's in love with one of the sort of key protagonists from Act 2. I feel so nervous about saying spoilers because I want people to fully indulge in it. But she has this wonderful romance with Isabel, who is Kefric's daughter, and there's like this big clash. So she's a wonderful character. She's very interesting.
Awesome. Are we able to? I don't want to hasten you along, because the worst thing to do when someone's playing an RPG game is tell them to get a move on. Because the idea is go and talk to everyone, go and experience everything, role play, have fun. But would you be able to kick us into a long rest so we can get out into the world and do some adventuring?
I shall, if I can find the campfire.
It's the bottom right button.
The bottom right?
If you click this one here, there is a little campfire. You can do it from the menu.
PC is so much more advanced than the console. We have to manually go to the campfire.
You're also going to have to manually select all of this fish that I bought for us earlier.
You bought it just for this?
I did, actually. I had to play the game a bit because I realised the save I'd loaded up, I had no camp provisions at all. I just hadn't.
We'll
apparently, when I got to this stage in the game, this is my playthrough of Baldur's Gate, so we're about 2/3 the way through. We're about to reach Baldur's Gate, the city itself. There's a cutscene happening. This is one of the things that happens in this kind of game, is when you're adventuring around, if you're on the Normandy in Mass Effect, or if you're in camp in Baldur's Gate, is you get these little events playing and that happen that push the story along. This is the Emperor. He's a big tentacled fella. He is a bit of a spoiler.
He is
you
quite
only find out about him in like Act 2. Lovely fella. He is a mind flayer. He eats brains for sustenance, so he has to deal with that.
He also is a bit deceptive in that he gets to be anybody you want for Act 1 and 2.
Yes.
And then suddenly he's this. So he kind of hides himself away.
And that's an interesting aspect of Baldur's Gate, is what we were talking about just before we started filming was character creation in games like this. And Baldur's Gate has a very interesting part of character creation where you create your character, so you sort of model yourself in the game, you put your lovely hair in, you pick your class. So apparently I wanted a tentacle face tattoo when I made my character, and I also apparently want a cool scar across my face. But then after you've made your character, you can also make a love interest or a guardian?
They call it a guardian, but like depending on what you pick initially, I think it picks a race and gender right away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of implied that it's supposed to be a love interest for you.
Yes.
And then you can make it perfect. And then they show up and they're very charming and they take care of you and they're perfect, and then suddenly they're a mind flare.
That is also what it's like dating me, if anyone's wondering. Charming and perfect.
That's that too.
Billy, have you got any experience working with character creators, or do you experience them a lot? Is this the kind of game that you tend to play?
I like character creators, but either I'll end up spending the entirety of a gameplay on the character creator, or I'll just go, I'm glad there's stock options, I'll go with one of them. Because I did notice in this, there's a lot of like different already preset choices that you can have, where
Yes.
it's like, there are characters that already exist that you can play as, rather than just make your own.
Because I'm gonna make a massive leap of logic here and assume that we're all D&D players or have played D&D.
Started a game, but we never finished it.
That is a classic D&D experience.
Yeah.
That is the D&D experience. But those role-playing games, character creation is a massive part of that. The starter manual you get for the game, a good 60, 70 pages, are usually dedicated in any RPG to creating your character and like building who you are in the world. And that's reflected in games like this because Baldur's Gate was based off of Dungeons & Dragons, 5th edition. So you get those kind of like character creators that are really deep and in-depth. And I think in terms of like, if we're talking about pride and queerness, character creation is a massive part of how a lot of people in our community access games. Curstaidh, we've spoken about this at length.
Yes. So much so that I don't even know where to begin speaking about it again, because
Yeah.
I feel like we've covered it completely. I always go back to the fact that not only in Baldur's Gate, but pretty much most games now that are coming out, you can be non-binary from the start.
Yes.
And you can have they, them pronouns. And I've just found out that the new Dragon Age has also got that, which I suspected, but like...
I was very tempted, because Dragon Age was announced a week ago? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I was very tempted to switch us from playing Baldur's Gate to playing Dragon Age 2. And then I loaded up Dragon Age 2, and it does not run very well on my PC. And I'd forgotten most of the game, so I knew this one.
I'm playing for Dragon Age 2 at the moment, and I forgot that pretty much everyone is bi or pan. Like,
Yes.
all of your companions are queer in some way, except for one. And it would be the handsome Scottish guy.
Oh,
And he just shows up, but
Billy, you look wounded.
Why is it the handsome Scottish guy?
he's a prince and he's very religious, so they kind of pull that in, and it's like, well, he wouldn't be queer because he's a religious prince.
He was never in my party.
He was a
so
DLC.
He was a DLC.
You had to have money to buy
Downloadable
him.
content, that's not like a mean thing to say about someone.
That was a big era of games where a lot of the characters, like some of the funnest characters, you had to pay to have them as an add-on.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they weren't always as fleshed out
I
because
was going to say, you made the DLC a Scottish guy who's like not bi. Like,
Yeah.
why would you make that the DLC? You make the DLC the fun like queer characters, like that people want to buy, so then they buy them.
Oh no! It's a bit of capitalism going on
Yeah.
in my level of detail.
they didn't tell you that he wasn't queer, so you bought him and then you found out the hard way. You paid to be told, not allowed.
That's the classic capitalism.
What is currently going on? 'Cause what's weird is you're playing as me. We've got a lovely like shot-in-shot of my character and me, and you're playing as me, and it's quite a strange thing watching on someone like dictating what I would do in a world. I appear to be holding the Emperor's hand.
Oh, he didn't like it either.
He didn't like
he
it. Oh
pulled it
no!
away.
This is terrible.
I know that you can romance this character. I've
Please
never done
don't.
it. I don't know how it
Please
goes.
no.
Have you quick saved?
I have quick save, but I will turn this episode around. None of that.
But I've never seen how it goes. I have some ideas. I have never actually finished the game. I'm in Act 3. I do not trust this man. I have no trust in him. So I'll hold his hand, but that's all I'll do.
I want to pivot back to more to do with like our experiences and our experiences as games developers, and also people who have sort of grown up in what I at least refer to as the queer renaissance of games, because we only in the last 20, 30 years have started to get more like actual queer characters in games and queer romance in games and queer storylines in games. So it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on what it was like growing up in that sort of era of games development and narrative, while
Trying
Kirsty
to.
figures out how to walk around a barn.
I'm trying to leave it so that
There you go.
But
You click on the landscape.
yeah.
There you go.
But
go
how
for a
do
little
you
jaunt.
leave camp on
I
the?
think you have left. Oh no, you haven't. If you go to the little camp button,
Yeah.
little camp button, and then you click
Leave
leave camp,
yeah.
you'll be able to pop out. And we're in. I know, I couldn't resist. We're in the outskirts of the city of Baldur's Gate, and Howson wants to speak to you.
Oh, what does he
Howson
want
is
to
a
say?
lovely man. Howson is one of the characters I think I ended this playthrough romancing Howson, because he's just a big elf man who's very lovely and very caring, and he looks like he's got like a pet name for you, I think. He's wonderful.
I like that we're going to go up to each character and you're going to go, okay, don't romance them. I've romanced them already.
I think I haven't romanced Howson just yet, because I remember all of the romancy bits with Howson happening in Baldur's Gate, the actual city. So at this point, we're just, friends exchanging, longing glances at each other across a battlefield. But yeah, back to my original question, like, what was it like growing up with queer games in your peripheral, or as a player of queer games?
For me, I'm just assuming that I'm older than you, so my experiences might be a little different.
Probably. I'm not going to assume your age. I
Yeah.
dare
It's not
not.
a segment on the podcast.
Yeah. Guessing ages with Jamie.
Oh no, not another one!
I definitely grew up with games. I remember playing games where I couldn't even play as a feminine character. I had to play like the main character was the main character, and even in RPGs, you didn't get to choose a gender at all, let alone a third gender or further gender. I think for me, Fable 2 came out when I was fairly young-ish, and you got to be a boy or a girl, woman, female, male, whatever, all the things, whatever they decided. And at that point, I was like, wow, this is inclusive. This is all you need. I don't think you can be, or can you? I think you can be gay in Fable 2. I think you can date.
I'm going to admit a cardinal sin here. I only played Fable 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Fable 2 is
If that's a
the
cardinal
better.
sin, I'm worse. I've not played Fable.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
So Billy will be leaving the podcast
Yeah,
now.
I'm not appearing again.
I played Fable 2 and Fable 1. Fable 1, I'm pretty sure you could only be straight. And you had to be the male protagonist. Fable 2, you could be male or female, and I'm pretty sure you could be bi or gay or straight. And there's a bisexual character in Fable 2 played by Stephen Fry, who is a villain/hero and is so dramatic.
I feel like I've missed some Stephen Fry lore here.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful. He's an amazingly well done character. Maybe not the best bisexual representation because he is quite evil. But I remember seeing that and I was just like, oh, this is just like an openly queer male character in a game. And he's such a fun character. Like, he's that kind of villain where he's unlikable but likable. Like, you love to hate him. Like, Fable 2 spoilers, there's a scene at the end where you're the big bad and you're facing each other and all the other side characters are around you and the big bad gives a speech, and if you don't shoot him halfway through the speech, Reaver, the Stephen Fry character, takes his gun out and shoots him for you and says, I just wish he would shut up talking. And to me that's an amazing moment, but I think a lot of people hated it because they're like, I want to see where he was going with it. He wasn't going anywhere.
Speaking of places we're going, I want you to progress.
To play.
We're gonna go to a nearby circus, which is one of the set pieces of. I believe down there.
It is.
Down that road there. One of the set pieces of this part of Baldur's Gate, and there's lots of zany and fun characters in here. So I want us to get in here and have a play around. While we're doing that, Billy, I'm going to press you for an answer on my last question.
Oh, God. What was the phrasing of the question again?
That's a good question. I was talking about like what it's like growing up with queer games in our peripheral.
I think a lot of the games I played were, because they were slightly older for when I was playing them anyway. Like I remember playing Crash Bandicoot a lot when I was a kid because I really enjoyed that. And then I look back and go, you're right, you could only play as one character.
Yeah.
And then in the second ones, sometimes you could play as the female one who was massively underbuffed and couldn't really do that much. And then slowly, like the newer games that I started playing, either the characters were really fleshed out and could do pretty much anything, and you could be pretty much anyone, or it was that they were not obvious who they were or what they were. You were embodying them almost. Where something like Portal, it's not expressly forced on you all the time. Oh, did you know you're a woman? Did you know you're a woman? All the way through the game. It's just you are. And those sort of games are actually really good, I think, because you end up almost
more of a spread of experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of experiences, we appear to be speaking to a very handsome gentleman.
I love him, the little creature, the ghoul.
Little creature fella who appears to be sniffing you.
Yes.
Baldur's Gate is one of those wonderful ones. Oh, we've actually got a dice roll going on. So again, Baldur's Gate was based off of D&D, so it's all dice rolls. And you appear to you've cast guidance despite the fact you've had advantage.
I'll always cast guidance.
Of course, of course.
That's the only reason Shadowheart is ever with me.
Shadowheart, another wonderful character in this game who may have not survived my playthrough of Act 2. And I know you mentioned her because I mentioned you previously that she may have died, properly died. Not like, oh no, she's fallen down a well. She's very dead in my playthrough. I feel really bad about that because when I'm playing these games, I will play them through and then I'll go back and I'll watch YouTube videos about other people who have played them. And they're all like, yeah, no, Shadowheart's alive, made it all the way through the game, we romance. I was like, right, oh, whoops.
I feel like that's how I felt playing Detroit Become Human. The first time I played that through, a lot of people did not survive, whereas most people had them survive till the very end. No, just got to play it through again, get it all right this time.
Just be better at video games. That's the advice I get off the internet. We do, obviously we're an academic institution, so we do teach people how to make video games, but we also have a big old research backbone where we're doing bits of research in the background to cement the knowledge of games and our understanding of games. And I do quite a lot of research into LGBTQ plus representation in games. I know, Kirsty, you do a bit as well. Do you want to maybe let's touch on that for a bit?
Yes. So I'm in this horrible predicament of I want to play, but I want to talk, and I'm just not very good at...
You appear to be shopping currently.
Yes, I'm getting the face paint. You've seen the face paint.
Oh, the face paint, yes. I might be too poor for the face paint, but you can definitely sell all of my hard-won items.
How are you in Act 3 with only this?
I am not very good at video games, as previously stated.
I'll sell some stuff.
Yeah, it's all my hard-won loot being sold.
It'll be
This is, as an RPG player, this is the worst experience ever.
Don't worry, you've saved. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, this isn't real.
This playthrough is already done. I finished this playthrough. This is like a terrible retcon.
Oh my, you truly are in financial difficulty.
a lot of my research started to do with things like RPG. So in terms of like queer research, there's this awesome bug in Fallout New Vegas that started my journey into sort of queer research, where I was playing as a male character, but if you get shot in the leg, there is a weird bug where your gender in the game, the variable stored, will switch to female. And as that happened, all of the characters in the game started reacting to me as a female character. So they would say things that were female coded or like made it sound like my character was a female character. And it was one of the, and my character would start playing voice lines that were very much like female voice lines. So in that moment, I got to experience a little bit of like what gender dysphoria, the concept of gender dysphoria felt like, because I was playing as a male character and then I was being reacted to as a female character. So there was a discongruence is the word that popped into my head then. I've been writing too much PhD stuff recently, but there was a disconnect between like the character I was playing, which was really, really interesting. You're currently talking to a genie.
I am, and I have the face paint on you.
No.
I agree about this idea of this disconnect. I tended to find, when I was younger and playing games, Is someone who is... You look wonderful.
I look ridiculous.
You can take it off.
This is terrible. Why would you do this to me?
I think it's the least you deserve.
Is this still how you want to look, yeah?
This is, again, like I'm talking about making our characters, and I made a character that was the ideal version of myself, and what you've done is you've ruined him.
I don't have enough gold to play the spin the wheel.
Do you not go and sell more of my things?
I will.
The wheel spinning is quite entertaining. What we're discovering here is characters I make are very much inflated versions of myself, and also poor, which is, less of a disconnect from reality.
I'm still so confused as to how you got this far.
I'm not good at games.
You're good at scraping by.
You played Mass Effect 2, right?
Yeah.
You played the suicide mission at the end. How many people survived?
See, I use my quick saves a lot.
Because none of mine did.
I just keep going again and again. I'll just go, no, everyone will survive this. We'll get through it because I'll just keep doing it.
I want to be that way, but my brother once said to me when I played the Mass Effect 2, he said, "Did you save scum?" And I was like, yeah. And he was like, "That's not the meaning of the game. You're supposed to experience it first." And then I felt so guilty that I just pretend the first time I did it, I got what I would have got, which was only one person dying.
Of course.
But Mass Effect, just to briefly touch on it, is a great example of seeing queer representation, like early in games. I always talk about Liara Tassoni as a bisexual character and sort of like also a non-binary, one-gendered species.
Yeah, the Asari.
Yeah, because there's such a wonderful representation of having non-gendered characters that are very feminine, which I relate to a lot because I obviously there's cameras. I dress quite feminine, but I don't identify as female, and that's something the Asari do, and I think that's a wonderful thing to see at a sort of formative age.
Especially for how early the game is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mass Effect, the original, when did that come out? Does anyone remember?
I would go as far as say 2002.
I think it was, because I grew up watching, I think I was about 13, 14 when Mass Effect 3, I watched a playthrough of Hannah Rutherford playing it on YouTube. One of my idols as I had growing up. Are we now
spinning the wheel?
Spinning a wheel. What's going on here?
Well, we know how this is going to end.
How is it going to end?
Is one of them you get shot in the leg?
You get shot in the leg, your gender switches, and this is why you don't spin a genie's wheel.
There's a lot to unpack there. He's a liar and a cheat, and we hate him.
This is terrible.
Thanks, I guess. He calls you ugly all the time, which
That's just mean.
It's not nice.
Because I look adorable.
Yeah, with that face paint. Really
and I look cute in game as well.
Oh yes, of course. Although I've got to stop saying you look cute because you did actively threaten me with HR the other day.
On the Women in Games podcast, if anyone's wanting to watch a continuation of this discussion.
Where we get much more in depth because we don't have distractions.
The
like
Game
this.
Changers podcast with Sharon Cochran.
Right.
What are we doing? We've switched to Astarion, a very famous vampire character.
I'm going to pickpocket the genie.
Okay.
So that I can get his ring, which will prevent him from making the wheel do what I want it to do.
Right.
I'm going to try, so let's see.
Let's see if I actually spec'd out Astarion to be a stealthy character. I did. Here's a tip, if you're pickpocketing video games, don't have all your friends stood around you while you're also doing it. That's kind of suspicious. Did you do it?
We did.
Wonderful.
Is
he going to let you spin again?
I'm most impressed about the fact that I'm playing with a mouse and keyboard so well. Oh no, I'm a star.
You're talking as a star. You've become a Astarion.
Which I also love about this game because you can play with multiple people at the same time, so you can be different. It's multiplayer is where I'm going with that. Yay! Right.
You can play this game multiplayer, and
again the gold.
You may need to go and sell more of my belongings. I've got some expensive stuff on my. There's a kobold nearby you can go speak to. I think.
Do you know where he is?
He's around the corner.
Over
that
here?
way. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go this way.
This is a lot of video game economics for a Pride episode.
It is. I feel like if you'd provide me with a controller, like the old-fashioned I am, I could have...
There's a little kobold fella in a top hat.
Yes.
You can sell all of my stuff to him. Oh, he's adorable.
I feel like... I don't know why, but I want to say he feels like queer representation to me. It could be the bow on the hat.
Yeah, it's just the dapperness.
Yeah. What an icon.
Outward like clothing representation is a big thing in the queer community. I know that I got a lot of my I'm trying to say a lot of my confidence comes from the way I dress and like the way I present myself to the world. And I like that in RPG games like this, you can do the same thing because my character is wearing something that I know I'd feel confident in. It's very difficult not to feel confident in chainmail.
I've never tried. Have you actually worn chainmail
I
before?
have worn chainmail at some point, and it was quite nice.
Have
Heavy
you?
though.
You've
is
worn
very
chainmail.
heavy.
Am I the only one who doesn't
Hang
wear
on, why have you
chainmail?
worn chainmail out of interest?
They've had it in museums and they have the try it on booths things.
Oh yeah.
You get to try it on, but it's really heavy.
I'm just despairing at all of my stuff being sold.
What stuff? You've got nothing.
I know. Are you selling candles at this point? This is amazing. I should have upped my finances before we started.
I love it because I think it shows like a real struggle. In the game, there is times where you have no coin and you want to buy nice things. It's a real shame.
Why you steal things in
Yeah.
game, not in real life. Do not take that as advice. Stealing is bad.
Yeah,
The economy episode.
The economy episode.
right. I think
So we'll change all the Pride heraldry to the Ministry of the Treasury.
Right, let's see if we can get this fun scene with the Jinn.
That's the great thing about. I could just do. I love RPG games. Well, I'm supposed to talk about Pride, but I talk about RPG games all the time. But queerness in games is one of those subjects that's evolved as we've gone along. There's a lot of stories if you look at sort of earlier game development or earlier to modern game development around 1990 onwards, where you get developers who have been essentially sneaking queerness into games into games on the factory floor. Like in the original Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, there was a lesbian character and a lesbian storyline that was snuck into the game without telling like publishers, which I think is like a really cool. Have we won?
We've
won. I think that's great. I think it's a really cool aspect of like the story of how we've brought queerness into games. What's going on?
He accused me of being a thief, and so I shouted back, "How does it feel, sucker?" And he's just vanished me away.
Where have we been vanished to? This is
Jurassic Park.
We've been vanished to Jurassic Park.
As you can see.
I did warn you there would be velociraptors.
Yeah.
Right.
We're now in a sort of more combat-y area of RPG games because we were doing stealth. I did not expect to see my sorcerer doing stealth.
No, I've only done this once, so I can't remember exactly, but I believe there is a really cool special trident around, which isn't Pride related, so I'll just go do that
I think
quietly.
tridents could be pretty Pride related. I think you may have been spotted by a velociraptor.
Sucks to be me.
As long as you're doing this bit, I'm happy.
Yeah. It's vaguely me because I'm the character, but I apparently am quite good at stealth. That's quite good.
Yeah.
So, out of interest, like, because we're all three of us are games developers. Where would we like to see games development go in terms of queerness, and in terms of telling our stories?
You've thought of good questions, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, they're not even on this bit of paper.
Yeah.
In terms of seeing it, I think for me, just having non-binary options in games is a really big deal to me, and it seems like we are going there. Even games like Call of Duty, which are historically not known to be, even with voice chat on, queer-friendly, they have options like non-binary when you play the story mode. And one of the other lecturers here, Jennifer, she showed me that there's a classified option where they treat you as non-binary, so you can make your gender classified, which I think is amazing. So even just having stuff like that is really cool. And every game coming out now that allows you to pick a gender seems to be able to have either male, female, or other.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, and it's definitely going that way.
Billy?
I just think in the age of like AI and all of that magical mystery boxes where you can pipe things in and get things out, and you can have that there should be something in the future that's not too distant away where you can type in how you want to be spoken to, and you can say, I want to be spoken to in this way, and it not AI doing the voice acting, God no, but just the game itself going, oh, okay, here you go. Here's how we're going to treat you now. And it's not going to necessarily massively impact the gameplay itself, but it will impact how you feel about your own character, how you feel about how you're playing the game.
And that's an important thing to note is, and especially in terms of role-playing games like we've been playing today, how you interact with the game often, and how well that is received by the players, it often relies on how well you can put yourself into the game, right? Because again, like this whole time, Curstaidh has been playing as me. Because when I play RPG games, I like to make characters like myself because I like to live out these fantasies as if it is me. Because that's how I'd love to be a sorcerer running around in Baldur's Gate. That's the dream. And I'd also like to see my identity reflected in that and reflected in the gameplay that I'm playing. And that is a skeleton. Where I am going to have to wrap this up. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to my wonderful guests, Curstaidh and Billy. If you've enjoyed this episode, please let us know in the comments, and remember, you can watch a load more episodes of Level of Detail on our YouTube channel. Bye for now.